It was in 1960 that Mr. Gunadasa and his group came to Galkadapathana. Only 11 families had been settled in the village when they arrived, and it was just a bare and infertile land. They had been burdened and pressed from all sides, and the only hope they had was this inhospitable bit of land. There was not a single tree to provide shade to escape from the heat of the burning sun, and the only cover they had were in some small huts, but without any facilities. This was in close proximity to Bandaravala town, but there was no road to the village. They had to take the hard track over the hill to come to the village, and there was no other choice but to use the track even during the continuous rain in the area. They consoled themselves, thinking that maybe they were destined to suffer in this way. There was an abundance of rain, but one of the most pressing problems was carrying water from wells located very far away. There was insufficient water even for drinking. The only source of water was found at some distance in a mountain. But again, it was just a dream, as it could incur heavy expenses to set up a supply scheme. What they wanted was only the basic facilities for them and their children. They met all the political leaders and the relevant government officials in vain, with no success. They heard about the Sarvodaya Society in the adjoining village. Finally, they thought to establish a Sarvodaya Society in their village too. And in October 1990, the Sarvodaya Society was formed with a membership of about 30. Their first aim was to set up a preschool. But there was no suitable place to set up a preschool, and they started the preschool in a house in the village. There was a dire need of a separate building for the preschool. In 1990, they started construction of a permanent building with the support of Sarvodaya and the government. It was not only that support, but the labor, the only support that the members could contribute toward the cause. They are proud to see that all the children attend this preschool now, where there are all the necessary facilities, just like in a preschool in the town. The children should follow the example of the elders. They taught them to be self-reliant from the very beginning of their lives. They should be taught that the habit of saving acquired from childhood is a source of strength for the future. Only after that did they think of facing the challenge of their biggest problem, namely water. Some had laughed at their idea of ever being able to convey water from the mountain. They were not bothered by those negative views and continued on the scheme as they had planned with the help of several institutions. They received the technical and financial assistance of the Sarvodaya Rural Technical Services. Day by day, little by little, their dream became a reality, as Sarvodaya was behind them. They strengthened their courage and continued undaunted, although in hostile weather conditions. A pipeline has been laid for about 4.5 kilometers within a period of 5.5 months. The villagers provided the labor, the equipment, tools, and so on. Soon the pipes were laid from the top to to the bottom of the mountain, and a giant water tank was constructed in the middle of the village. It was a historic day. One day in 1994, the Sarvodaya leader visited the village and declared open the tank. The water began to flow through the pipes and in all directions in the village. Now they are convinced in their minds that with Sarvodaya they will never be alone. The next issue was the access road. The present track, full of rubble and boulders with pools of water and mud here and there, made it almost impossible to traverse, especially when they had to carry a patient to the hospital. The society was determined that the road too should be constructed using their own labor and through the concept of Shramadana. It was as if a second sun had appeared to provide them light. The road was constructed. The villagers who were isolated from the rest of the world are now connected. Somehow they had prevailed. The 10 feet wide road, where a vehicle could ply, was constructed with their own strength. In the beginning, all they had were tiny dwellings, which could not even withstand the rain and the wind. Very soon, strong houses, too, appeared. Now there are a number of strong permanent homes. They receive the financial support from Sarvodaya Development Bank, or SEEDS. The rest are their own contribution. As the basic needs have been fulfilled one by one, their attention turned toward economic needs. The commodious hands of Sarvodaya helped them even in this. The Sarvodaya Development Bank was established and was managed by themselves. The bank has started on activities for the economic upliftment of the villages in every respect. Although Bandaravala is an agricultural area, due to a lack of land, the villagers were unable to grow anything. Hardly any land was left over after building the homes, so they automatically turned toward self-employment projects and started household industries with loans obtained from the Sarvodaya Development Bank. Some others started businesses in the nearby town in Bandaravala. They have now firmly decided on their course, as they are somewhat economically stronger. their success was mainly due to teamwork and the guidance provided by Sarvodaya. They discussed everything at every stage. They have organized a family gathering, a mother's group, a youth group, and even a children's group, which are very active in the village. Prosperity alone does not complete a community. Their hearts must be filled with good thoughts and values to survive as a developed village. Their responsibility is to convey to the younger generation their traditional values, which are as important as education. Irrespective of personal beliefs, Sarvodaya's philosophy teaches one to grow, which extends to the village and then encompasses the whole country. Without Sarvodaya, they would have still been in the dark ages. Their next hope is to self-administer the village, which is the concept of self-governance. The indications are that even this hope will be realized in the near future. The traditional occupation of the villagers of Talvila is fishing, where they leave early morning into the deep sea to earn a few rupees. But they know that with this occupation alone, they cannot fulfill all their expectations. It was all right for the elders, but the future of their children are uncertain. The next life support system in the village is the coconut industry, where all parts of the tree are used. Those who have coconut trees use every part of the tree and earn some money. Those who do not have coconut have tried to live through some employment related with the coconut industry. Other than with fishing and the coconut industries, there are only a few other avenues of employment. One other being tourism. All what they had wanted was to change their economic and social situation, which they realize is very difficult. They thought that the best instrument with which to accomplish such a change would be the Sarvodaya movement. With the assistance of the Sarvodaya district center, the society was formed. First, the social empowerment program and then the economic empowerment program were started. They established the Seed Sarvodaya Bank, which is managed by themselves. The bank helped the villagers to start their own small enterprises. Sarvodaya taught them to earn money as well as to save money. In the bank now they have about 30 million rupees. They are now constructing a two-storied new bank building, and they hope to operate all their transactions within this bank, as well as accommodate the Sarvodaya society in this building. The people of the village, rich and the poor, have joined the society. Various self-employment industries were started. People earlier thought that all they could do was fishing or run away to Italy. But after the arrival of Sarvodaya in the village, the people have learnt that they could do more. The ultimate goal of Sarvodaya is not simply the economic upliftment of people, but also to develop people socially and spiritually, which can be started at the preschool level. In this respect, the preschool is extremely successful. The government school does not have enough teachers, but the required teachers have been provided by the Sarvodaya Society. Their biggest problem that they face now is the rapid social erosion, where especially the children have become the victims as a result of unplanned growth in tourism in the area. A special program is now being implemented through Sarvodaya to safeguard the children from this problem. They have the assistance of governmental, non-governmental and religious organizations who have joined hands with Sarvodaya in this effort. All collective decisions are made at these meetings. Of 1,148 families in the village, 921 have obtained membership in the Sarvodaya Society, which is a remarkable achievement. Because of the Sarvodaya assistance, the problems are solved in a very positive manner, which is a source of consolation to the villagers. As this is the case, it is not a surprise if Sarvodaya spreads through the area so rapidly. The Sarvodaya movement, which is over 45 years old and which has spread over 15,000 villages, is well established today as a people's movement. The uniqueness of Sarvodaya is that it is essentially an organization born of and remaining with the people, aimed at building a strong society, not only economically and socially, without divisions of both rich and the poor, but also rich in social values. There are a number of programs extending from village level to national level, carried out with a view to creating a society of peace, coexistence, and non-violence. Back in their own villages, the diversity of issues they encountered enriches their capacity to march forward as a self-governing body. Understandably, the Sarvodaya movement will march forward forever, self-governed and self-reliant.